Okay, that's hilarious. I have been deleting files for days because my video was like storage is too low. And all of those files were going to the trash. And so the trash was still taking up a ton of space. So I've now deleted like a lot of videos of my child, which I maybe wouldn't have deleted, but oh well. Understanding things can be tricky. Here we are on a walk. Good morning, Ace. And I recorded a whole thing, but then it deleted because of the storage thing. So what was I talking about? Oh, okay. So, there's some wind. That's probably going to be hard for you. I had worked hard to figure out a scenario in which you would have less background noise when I make these videos. Also, so that my accountability partner, Jason, who I go on walks with my phone, and then he has to hear all the cars going by in the wind. It's so uncomfortable for him. I tried getting an iPhone and AirPods to make that better. And part of that was also to address like this part of me that I'm wanting to shift out of, which I have done a great job of and I'm making a lot of progress with. But this part that like insists that I only have the shittiest things. And so it was like this big thing to get an iPhone and get AirPods, which are the nicest versions. But then I was getting nauseous every time I looked at the iPhone. And I don't know, I'm assuming it's my brain injury because that is what I have been told is why I get nauseous in like cars and any moving thing on screens. But my phone doesn't make me nauseous, and I would have assumed that iPhones are like better quality than this Motorola whatever free phone that I got from Metro by T-Mobile. But I'm here to tell you that this phone does not make me nauseous, and the iPhone does. And I got like a special screen protector, matte, whatever. I changed all the motion settings. I did like every accessibility thing I could find on the internet on the iPhone. And still, every time I looked at it, I would get like really nauseous and like I could not type on it. Like my texts were like really, I couldn't type words. It was so weird. So anyways, I finally decided after a week of trying, like who I actually, like what I want to let go of is not trusting myself. And the not trusting myself comes out when I get only shitty things because I'm like, I can't trust myself to have nice things, or I can't trust myself to treat myself well because I don't deserve it or whatever. And what I realized is that actually keeping the iPhone that makes me sick is a version of not trusting myself. So I returned the iPhone, but now I'm still in the dilemma of all the background noise that you all are going to hear, because I also, the AirPods, well, you can only have AirPods with an iPhone is my impression. But then the other issue with the AirPods was that they wouldn't connect to the computer, which they connected to the iPhone, but not to the computer, and maybe the computer's too old or something. But like, I don't want headphones that I can't use on the computer, because I'm not like on my phone enough. I'm mostly all day on the computer. Anyways, I returned them both. So if anyone has ideas of like how to reduce background noise with not an iPhone and not a AirPods, then let me know. And that leads me to my second topic for the day that I'm thinking about, which is jealousy and comparison, like not having what other people have and then feeling bad about it. One sec, car. That's pretty. Those colors, that red berries on the bush, so pretty. It's been so pretty lately. Okay, so yeah, so I just listened to Jessa Reed, her latest podcast, Projector and the Flail, which is great. Her and Mark Pontius, highly recommend. just listened to their most recent episode, and they're talking about how she had a surprise party for Mark. It was like so beautiful. And I was thinking like, God, that's so cool. And like, I don't have something like that in my life, and I don't think I ever will. And like, what does that mean? And like, should I feel like, do I actually feel jealous of that, or do I think it would make sense to feel jealous of that because the comparison muscle is just so strong in this culture? And so what I've been doing lately for jealousy or comparison thoughts is I have been playing the mental exercise of like, okay, first of all, picture yourself in that scenario. And because I believe in the mythology right now of like we're all fractals of one thing, I'm like, okay, basically you are experiencing that. So I am Jessa and I am Mark, and so I just had a party thrown for me, and I just threw a party for someone that I love. Like, that just happened to me. So I can get myself into that as either of them and just like fully experience it and enjoy it. And then the second part of that is, that actually is pretty effective. The second part is I have found even more effective, which is then I get into their bodies and like feel what it feels like to live that experience, and I check if I like it. The other day we went to my kids' friend's house, and the family is like wealthy and the mom is like fancy, and I was having some comparison. And then I like got myself into the fancy outfit in the fancy house. And I was like, actually, I'm so uncomfortable. Like, I don't like wearing pants that have a belt, and like, it made me like, to think about like having had like blow dried my hair and like shaved my legs and like spent all day. I'm not to yuck anybody's yum. Like, I'm so happy for her that she is having that experience, if that's the right experience for her. But I was equally, once I like got in it, I was equally happy for me that I was not having that experience. Because I was like, yeah, I don't want that. And so when I get into like Jessa's scenario, I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad I don't have a partner, because it just doesn't feel like, it feels like too much. It feels like claustrophobic when I think of that. And then when I get into Mark's situation, I also would feel, in my current state, I'm not to say that this is like never going to happen for me, or that I'm not going to shift, but in my current state, I'm like, oh God, yeah, I would hate to have all of that attention on me and all of those people having done all of that for me, and then feel like obligated to reciprocate. It just feels like I want to completely die. So it's really helpful for me when I'm having those comparison thoughts to be like, okay, let me actually get into that movie and see if I prefer it to mine. And so far, I really prefer my own movie. And I also often remind myself of a thing, especially when it comes up around like, do you have a partner or not? Because there's so much cultural, like, everybody should have a partner and have a dream love, and that's like the culmination of being a human. I remind myself of this time when I heard Byron Katie saying, like, if you have a partner right now, then that is the best way for you to learn what you're trying to learn. And if you don't have a partner, that is the best way for you to learn what you're trying to learn. So like, either way, like, there's no like, sometimes people can be like, oh, do you have intimacy issues? And that's why you don't have a partner, and you should fix those so that you can have a partner. And I'm like, or maybe my life right now is about just like exploring those intimacy issues or not exploring those issues. Like, why does it have to mean that I have issues, you know? And even if I have issues, why do I need to get rid of those issues? Which brings up another topic, which has been really interesting to me lately, which is this like wellness is like this wellness religion we have, I feel like, of like being well or healthy or like mentally healthy is like the best option? Like, why do we think, I mean, I get it. If you enjoy that and you want to like play that game, you're like, oh yeah, like I want to try out being healthy, so I'm gonna like try out eating certain foods and doing certain exercises and doing certain meditations. Like, go for it, but not because that's like the better thing to do or like the right thing to do or the responsible thing to do. Like, who are we to say that like coming here and feeling sick and miserable is not just exactly the same or even better than pursuing health and wellness? Like, all of that relies on the premise that life is better than death and like comfort is better than discomfort. But like, where's the proof for that? Do we have any evidence that life is better than death? I personally, and I think I've said this before, I personally have more evidence that death is better than life because my near-death experience was the best thing I've ever done on this planet. That was the most wonderful I ever felt. And nothing in my living life has even scratched the surface to being as wonderful as that. So my personal evidence is that death is better than life. And yeah, like we have evidence of life being good, but we have a lot of evidence of life being hard. And I haven't found a single near-death experiencer who has said there was some sort of hell situation. I've only been exposed to near-death experiencers who are like, yeah, it's awesome, fantastic. So why are we so driven to hang on to this life? I just think it's weird. I think it's very unscientific somehow. Because it's like, where's your proof? Why are you insisting that we all do this one thing? And everybody working so hard to be well and successful and happy. And we don't know that those are better. And a lot of like well, successful, happy, supposedly people are pretty, I know I'm just showing you the ground right now, but I don't know, sometimes it feels hard to keep it on my face while I'm walking. So anyways, those are some musings. Love ya.